Hi, my name is Michael Turner. I'm 15 years old, and until last summer, I thought I was just a regular kid growing up in Austin, Texas. I used to spend my afternoons skateboarding with friends, dreaming about building my own video game one day, and honestly, never really thinking about death, or the meaning of life, or anything deeper than the next big test at school. But everything changed for me on June 17, 2024. It was the day that completely flipped my world upside down. A day I can never forget, even if sometimes I wish I could. I almost died. And what I experienced when my heart stopped beating, what I saw and heard on the other side, changed the way I see everything. It changed what I believe about the world, about our future, about people we all think we know, people like Elon Musk. But most importantly, it changed what I believe about God and about Jesus. Before I start, I want to ask you, please, keep an open mind. I know some of what I'm about to share sounds impossible. If you feel confused, angry, or even afraid, you're not alone. I felt all those things too, but I believe I went through this for a reason, and that reason is to share what I saw. So please, if this story touches you or makes you think, let me know in the comments. And if you think someone else needs to hear this, share it. What happened to me wasn't just a warning for me. It's a warning for all of us. Now let me take you back to the day it all started. The day of the accident. The moment. Everything changed. It was an ordinary Monday. School was out for the summer, and I was excited to spend the afternoon at Zilker Park with my friends. The sky was clear. The Texas heat was relentless, and the only thing on my mind was beating my best time on the skate ramp. My mom dropped me off around noon. She told me to be careful, but I just laughed and said, "Don't worry, Mom. I'll be home for dinner." Looking back, it's strange how a single, ordinary day can suddenly become the most important day of your life. I remember feeling invincible. My friends cheered me on as I sped down the ramp, trying a new trick I'd been practicing for weeks. The board flew, and so did I, but not in the way I hoped. I lost control. My body slammed hard onto the concrete. The sound of my head hitting the ground echoed in my ears, then everything went black. People shouted my name. I heard the panic in their voices, but it felt like they were calling from underwater. I tried to open my eyes to get up, but my body didn't move. The world faded even further away until all I could feel was silence. I later learned that my heart had stopped for 3 minutes. The paramedics arrived quickly, but for those 3 minutes, according to every medical test, I was gone, dead. But to me, those 3 minutes were anything but empty. They were more real than anything I'd ever experienced. Floating out of my body, the strange feeling of peace. The first thing I remember wasn't pain or fear. It was an overwhelming sense of peace. It was like all the noise and chaos of the accident faded away, replaced by a calm that I can't really explain. Suddenly, I was no longer lying on the concrete. I was above it, looking down, watching as people surrounded my body. I could see my friend Ethan's face. He was crying, shaking my shoulders, shouting my name. I saw the paramedics kneeling beside me, moving quickly. But none of it felt scary. Instead, I felt this strange separation, like watching a movie that I couldn't pause or rewind. Then something even stranger happened. I started rising higher. The world around me grew dim, and the sounds of sirens and shouting faded into the background, replaced by a soft, humming silence. I realized I wasn't alone. There was a presence, warm, loving, impossible to describe. It felt like a gentle hand resting on my shoulder, comforting me, letting me know everything was okay. I didn't want to go back. For the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of anything. I felt lighter than air, and the pain from my fall was completely gone. All the stress, the doubts, the questions I carried, they just melted away. It was as if I was being carried somewhere, guided by love. Suddenly, a tunnel of light appeared in front of me. It pulsed with colors I'd never seen before, colors that didn't even exist on Earth. I felt drawn toward it, not by force, but by a gentle invitation, as if the tunnel itself was welcoming me home. I moved toward the light, knowing that on the other side, someone was waiting for me. the tunnel of light and meeting Jesus. As I drifted closer to the tunnel, my entire being was filled with a warmth that words can barely touch. The light wasn't just bright, it was alive. Every color shimmered with purpose. The farther I moved, the more everything I'd ever worried about, school, friendships, my future, felt small and unimportant. Here, none of that mattered. Stepping, or maybe floating, into the tunnel, I felt surrounded by an incredible sense of love. Not just any love, but the kind that makes you feel completely seen and understood, as if every moment of your life had led up to this. I felt safe, like a little kid falling asleep in the back seat of his parents' car, knowing someone was watching over him. That's when I saw him. At first, it was just a shape in the light, but as I got closer, the figure became clearer. There was a man, radiant and gentle, whose eyes shone with a depth I had never imagined. I didn't have to ask who he was. I knew instantly. This was Jesus. He didn't speak with words at first, but I understood him perfectly. His eyes were full of kindness and power, like looking into a sunrise that somehow knows every good and bad thing you've ever done and still loves you completely. I felt like he was smiling with his whole being, and that smile made me want to cry and laugh at the same time. He reached out his hand, and the touch was like electricity and comfort all at once, a feeling like a warm blanket on a cold night. As soon as his hand met mine, memories flooded my mind. My happiest moments, my mistakes, all the times I doubted or felt lost. But instead of feeling judged, I felt forgiven, accepted, and loved. Then, Jesus looked at me and finally spoke, not with his mouth, but directly into my heart. I have something important to show you. What you see today will help many, but you must be brave. I nodded, even though I was scared. Deep down, I trusted him. I knew whatever he wanted to show me would change everything, not just for me, but maybe for the whole world. The revelation, I have something important to show you about the future. The moment Jesus spoke those words, the light around us seemed to pulse, growing even more intense. I felt like we were moving, though not with our feet, through space, or maybe through time itself. Scenes flickered around us, like pieces of memories and dreams blending together. I sensed we weren't just leaving Earth behind. We were stepping outside everything I thought was possible. Jesus' presence was both comforting and powerful. I could feel his love wrapping around me like armor, but I could also sense the weight of what was coming. He looked at me, and again I felt his voice, deep in my heart. "Michael," he said, "the world is changing in ways few understand. There are forces shaping your generation's future, some visible, others hidden. You will see a vision today that must be shared, no matter how hard it is to believe." Suddenly the tunnel faded, and we were standing, if you can call it that, on the edge of a great city, shimmering with lights. I recognized it as a version of the world I knew, but there was something different about it. The sky pulsed with a strange energy. I could see people walking, their faces glowing with hope, but also haunted by worry and confusion. Jesus raised his hand, and a scene appeared before us, sharper than any dream. A giant screen filled with numbers, codes, images of rockets, satellites, and electric cars. And at the center of it all, almost like a puppet master, stood a man I recognized instantly, Elon Musk. I felt a chill run down my spine. Jesus looked at me, his eyes full of sadness and urgency. "This is what you must understand. Not everything is as it seems. There are hidden truths you need to see." The scene began to shift, and I knew I was about to witness something that would change the way I saw the world forever. The vision of Elon Musk, a disturbing image. As the scene sharpened, I found myself watching Elon Musk more closely than I ever had before. I'd always thought of him as a kind of genius, someone who made rockets, electric cars, and wanted to save humanity by colonizing Mars. But what I saw here was different. He stood at the center of an enormous, shadowy network. Wires, screens, satellites, all pulsing with energy. It felt both futuristic and cold, like a heart made out of steel. Around Elon, people moved like pieces on a chessboard. Some wore the logos of his companies, SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink. Others wore business suits, scientists' coats, or even everyday clothes like mine. But their eyes looked empty, as if they were following orders they couldn't understand. Suddenly, the vision zoomed in. I saw Elon's face in sharp detail. His eyes, which always seemed confident in interviews, now glowed with an unnatural light. It was as if something was moving behind them, something ancient and hungry, using his brilliance for its own purpose. As I watched, Elon raised his hand, and a wave of digital code flowed out like a river, covering the people below him. Some cheered, celebrating the promise of new technology and a brighter future. Others looked lost, afraid, trying to hold on to something real as the digital wave swept them away. A deep chill went through me. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. The vision showed people giving up their thoughts, their choices, even their souls, to this network. It was as if humanity was merging with machines, not in freedom, but in surrender. I turned to Jesus, my heart pounding. "Is this really happening?" I asked. His answer came, gentle but unbreakable. "This is a path the world is being led toward. There is hope, but also great danger. You must see the truth beneath the surface." As the image of Elon Musk faded, I braced myself for what Jesus would reveal next. The horrifying message from Jesus about Elon Musk. Jesus turned to me with a look of both sorrow and urgency. I could feel the gravity of what he was about to say, like a storm about to break open. The world around us grew quiet. The lights of the vision dimmed, and all that remained was his presence and the echo of what I'd just seen. He spoke again, not with words in the air, but directly into my heart. "Michael, there are those in your world who appear as visionaries, leaders, even saviors. But many have lost their way, blinded by power, pride, and the promise of control. Elon Musk is one of these men. He was gifted with great intelligence and influence for a purpose. Yet, the enemy is using his gifts to push humanity toward a false salvation. A future where machines and men are merged not by love but by fear and control." As Jesus spoke, images flickered around us. Headlines about brain implants, promises of eternal life through technology, warnings of artificial intelligence surpassing humanity. I saw millions of people, young and old, drawn to a vision of the future that promised freedom, but delivered only deeper chains. I saw families divided, friends turned against each other by the glowing screens in their hands. The world felt colder, more mechanical, like the warmth of human love was being replaced by artificial light. Jesus continued, "The greatest danger is not the technology itself, but the lie that humanity can save itself without God, that we can become gods through our own inventions. This is the oldest temptation, one that leads only to emptiness and despair. Elon Musk is not the enemy, but he is being used by powers he does not see. Tell the world, true salvation, true life, comes not from machines or minds, but from the love I have for each of you." My soul trembled as I listened. I realized how easy it is for people, myself included, to chase after new things, believing they'll make us whole, only to end up more lost than before. Jesus' words burned into me, both a warning and a call to return to what really matters. He reached out and touched my shoulder. "You must warn them, Michael. Speak with courage, even if the world laughs or rejects you. The time is short, and many are asleep." I nodded, tears in my eyes, realizing that what I had seen was not just about Elon Musk, but about all of us, about the choices we make and the truth we choose to follow. The warning to the world, what we need to know and do. The vision faded, but the weight of Jesus' words stayed with me, burning in my heart. I looked at him, feeling both small and responsible, like a single voice shouting across a storm. He turned to me with kindness and strength, and I knew this next part was for everyone, no matter where they lived, what they believed, or who they admired. Jesus spoke. "Michael, what you saw is only one thread in a much larger tapestry. Many are being led by fear and promises of power, thinking they can escape pain, death, or loneliness with technology. But true freedom comes only through love, through me. Tell them to be awake, to question the things that seem too good to be true. Remind them that no invention, no leader, no system can replace the peace and hope I give. Scenes appeared around us. Ordinary people in every corner of the world. A young woman in New York scrolling endlessly through her phone, feeling emptier by the minute. A father in Silicon Valley, working late, hoping that success would make his family proud, but losing touch with the people he loved. A boy like me in Chicago, wondering if anyone saw him or cared. Some people in the vision seemed to wake up, looking up from their screens, reaching out to their families, praying for the first time in years. Others clung tighter to the glow of technology, afraid to let go, afraid of what they might feel in the silence. Jesus' message was clear, ringing louder than any voice I'd ever heard. There is still time. The future is not set in stone. Each person can choose to be guided by light or by shadows. Tell them I am waiting with open arms. There is no shame in turning back. My love is for everyone, no exceptions. I felt the hope rising in me, a sense that even with all the darkness, there was still a way out, that even the people leading us toward danger could change, that forgiveness and new beginnings were possible for everyone. Then Jesus spoke one last thing before the vision ended. Do not be afraid to stand for truth, even if you stand alone, and never forget, you are never truly alone. I am with you, always, returning to my body. The impact of this experience. The visions began to dissolve around me, and the light of that other world faded into a gentle glow. I could feel Jesus' presence still, his love, his warning, his hope wrapping around me like a shield. But slowly I sensed myself being pulled back, as if the world I'd known was calling me home. I felt a tug, gentle at first, then stronger. The tunnel of light drew me backward, and for a moment, I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay where I felt whole and understood, where every part of me was seen and loved. But deep down, I knew my time there wasn't meant to last forever. I had a message to bring back. I had a responsibility to share what I'd seen and heard. Suddenly, I was falling, not with fear, but with purpose. The world grew heavier, louder. I heard the distant beeping of machines, voices shouting, my mom's cries blending with the sirens. The warmth and light receded, replaced by pain in my head, the weight of my own body, and the smell of antiseptic. I gasped for breath, my eyes snapping open. Blurry faces hovered above me, my friends, the paramedics, my mom sobbing and holding my hand. The world felt colder, harsher than before. But something inside me had changed. I knew what I'd experienced was real, more real than anything in this world. As the days passed in the hospital at Dell Children's Medical Center in Austin, the visions haunted me. I wrote them down in a notebook, afraid I'd forget, afraid nobody would believe me. I questioned my sanity, replayed every detail, wondering if I should tell anyone. But the feeling of Jesus' hand on my shoulder, the echo of his words, wouldn't let me rest. I realized that going back to normal wasn't an option. My life had a new purpose, and even if people laughed, doubted, or ignored me, I had to share what I saw. The warning about Elon Musk, the call to look beyond technology, the hope that real love could save us all. It was a truth too important to keep to myself. Why I decided to share this with you lying in that hospital bed, I kept replaying everything in my mind. Part of me was terrified. Who would believe a 15-year-old kid? Would my friends think I was crazy? Would adults just say it was a dream, a trick of the brain? But the other part of me, the part touched by something so much greater than myself, knew I couldn't keep this hidden. As soon as I could, I talked to my parents. At first they were scared, worried the accident had done more damage than anyone realized. But as I described what I'd seen, my mom started to cry, holding my hand tighter. My dad sat in silence, but I saw a tear slip down his cheek. Something about my story reached them, even if they couldn't explain it. I shared with my friends, too. Some shrugged it off or made jokes, but a few listened. One of them, a girl who'd been struggling with depression, asked me more questions than anyone. She said my story gave her hope, that maybe there was more to life than what we see. That's when I realized It didn't matter if everyone believed me. What mattered was planting a seed, shining a little light into someone's darkness. I started speaking at my church, then at school, and eventually online. Every time I told my story, the message grew clearer in my heart. It wasn't just about Elon Musk or technology or even the terrifying warning. It was about waking up. It was about remembering that there's more to life than screens, more to our souls than what the world promises. I still don't have all the answers. I'm just a kid trying to do what I know is right. But I know this. What I saw was real. The love I felt from Jesus was real. And his warning, his hope, is for everyone. No matter how lost or broken we feel, we are never alone. There is always a way back. So I'm sharing this with you, not because I want to be famous or because I want to scare anyone, but because I believe someone out there needs to hear it. Maybe it's you. If you're still watching or listening, thank you. I know this story isn't easy to believe. I wouldn't have believed it myself if it hadn't happened to me. But I need you to understand. What I experienced wasn't just a warning about one man or the dangers of technology. It was a call to all of us to wake up, to remember what truly matters, and to find our way back to the love that created us. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes every day. But I know there's something bigger than all of us, reaching out, offering real hope and real forgiveness. You can call him Jesus, or you can just call him love. But he's waiting for you, just like he waited for me. Don't let the noise of the world, the promises of technology, or the voices of fear and doubt drown out the truth. You are loved. You have a purpose. There's a light shining for you, even if you feel surrounded by darkness. Maybe this message is the wake-up call you needed. Maybe it's the sign you've been asking for. If any part of my story touched your heart, please, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a comment, share your thoughts, and most importantly, share this video with someone who needs hope. You never know whose life you might change. Conclusion: if you're feeling lost, confused, or just curious about what comes next, you're not alone. The world is changing faster than ever, but one thing never changes: the love that's waiting for you, the light that can't be hidden by darkness. If this message touched your heart, share it so that more people can be blessed and reminded that hope is real. Together, we can help each other wake up, find the truth, and hold on to what really matters. The harvest is coming, and time is running out. Don't wait, let the light in. Thank you for listening. May you find peace, purpose, and love, no matter where you are on your journey.